Man, I feel so sorry for Soul. A film that was supposed to be released in June of last year was delayed twice for a theatrical release before Disney decided to just dump it onto Disney Plus for Christmas Day. Coronavirus did not treat this movie well. So consider that cheating if you want to, but I don't care. This movie was supposed to be a theatrical film and I'm still gonna judge it as one. And boy, it sure does feel good to have amazing original Pixar films again. Yeah, Onward was decent, but it has nothing on this movie. I'm sure I'm not going to say anything new about this movie that everyone hasn't already said, but it's just great to have a movie like this again. We center on a music teacher named Joe Gardner, who's been a big fan of music since he was a kid and dreams of becoming a superstar. He's eventually given an opportunity to perform alongside one of the most popular jazz musicians of all time, and then he dies. Yeah, not gonna hide that when it's in plain sight, the main character is already freaking dead. His soul is supposed to go to the great beyond, but he escapes and lands in a place known as the Great Before, where souls perform personalities and are sent off to Earth to be put into humans. The people in charge believe that Joe is a mentor and assigns him to a soul number 22, who doesn't want to go to Earth because she doesn't see a point to it. But the two make a deal with each other. If 22 can help Joe get back to Earth, he'll rig her chances of going as well. Right off the bat, I've seen a lot of people compare this movie to Inside Out and Coco. Some even say it's sort of a blend of the two. I do notice the similarities to Coco in terms of life and death, but the themes sort of strike a bit of an Inside Out thing. In fact, both movies take ideas that have usually been done before and gives them a bit of a twist, and it helps that this movie is directed by Pete Docter, who also did Inside Out as well as Monsters Inc. Except with Soul, it's given much more of an adult edge to it. Of course it wasn't made for adults, but the themes are. I'm actually pretty glad that most of the movie doesn't take place in the Soul world, as we get a sizable amount of stuff in the human world even after Joe dies, which I know was done to help support this movie's message on the meaning of life. I won't lie when I say by the time the movie does go back to the human world, I started to get a little worried because Joe ends up in the body of a cat while 22 is stuck in his body. I really didn't want to get reminded of Brave, but thankfully these parts do hold a very strong theme to it. Throughout his life, Joe has really only had one goal: to become a famous musician. 22, meanwhile, after resenting Earth for so long, begins to like the little things in life once she has the chance to live there. It makes Joe realize that he never got to appreciate the little things in his life and it made it the way it is. Thus, by the time he gets his body back and gets the gig of his dreams, he now doesn't feel right. He went on about how his life felt meaningless, but realized there was so much more to it. That scene with him playing on the piano while reflecting on his life was such a powerful moment, and it's all done without any dialogue, just the sound of music playing. Now, I've heard a plethora of people giving some criticism to this movie, but the one I see popping up the most regards the ending, where Joe gives 22 her chance to go to Earth, but it means he won't get to go back. And before he goes into the great beyond, he's given the second chance to live his life. What's my input? Well, I can see the issues people have with Joe getting a second life and that he should have just died, but I have to disagree. To quote Cell Specs in her review on the movie, Soul isn't about death, it's about life. About giving people that motivation to live their lives to their fullest. That's why 22 gets her chance to live a life she never thought she wanted, and Joe gets a second chance to live a life he never realized was there. Does that mean the ending is executed perfectly? I don't think I'd go that far. It's just not on the same boat as those who had an issue with it, but each to their own. As for the animation, okay, I promised I wasn't gonna gush about the animation again like I did with Wolfwalkers, but holy shit, this movie looks unbelievable. Not as good as Wolfwalkers, but it's perhaps one of, if not the best looking Pixar film I've ever seen. It really feels like I'm looking at the real world, just with Pixar characters roaming about. And thankfully with designs that don't suck and don't blend in that well. And even the little things I love, like how all the Jerrys are 2D animated, and they still blend in so well. And I know I don't often compliment the music in these movies, but Soul has a really beautiful soundtrack. The composers did their damnedest to make it organically fit with every theme and concept this movie uses. It's definitely one of Pixar's best films, and it sure is great to see them doing these kind of movies again. Also, congrats Pixar for finally having a year where you released 2 good movies. I mean, that's not to say Cars 3 was bad, it was just average, and the less I say about The Good Dinosaur, the better. But anyway, just go watch Soul. I'll see you tomorrow.